It's Chris Poole, Florida State University, and I'm excited today to be able to show some demos of some of our hitting progression, how to build an effective hitter, and some different things that you can do with being explosive and being able to use your arm swing to put the ball down. Be able to use a machine today, AcuSpike, that will be able to give us some opportunities to show how the ball can be put down without necessarily being able to have a setter in practice.
I actually started coaching on the college level in 1983. And when I started in '83, the first thing obviously I noticed is how important the arm swing was, the approach was to being able to be a great hitter. You saw hitters come up, and a lot of times they would have noodle arms on being able to actually be able to put the ball down. So we came up with a program to try to work with them. First thing that we're going to do is just working on the arm swing itself. It's so important. You'll have a lot of young players, and again, we brought this in time for camp last summer, so we were able to see these little bitty players that what happens a lot of times to the smaller players or the weak ones is that what do they do with their elbow? They drop their elbow when they go to hit. Well, again, you want something stationary so you can work on the arm swing completely. So what we started doing is having them come in and working on just getting their elbow up, good follow through, and right now by getting the snap, we want it to go under the net. That's where we want the ball to go. You'll see also a lot of times where players will hit the side of the ball and not be able to get a good snap on top of it. Again, low elbow, hitting the side of the ball. So by having the ball stationary, they're able to get good follow through, and we're able to move it up where they're able to reach with it. And Holly is literally trying to teach them how to do it right now, because obviously none of these have used this machine before to get the reach. So you can see the difference whenever they are reaching and being able to follow through with it. The other thing that a lot of young players will do is they'll hit the ball, but they won't hit through the ball. So what we tell them is they're almost like they want to try to go to the other side of the ball whenever they go to snap. So instead of just hitting it and stopping, we want them to follow all the way through, and that hand going backwards at contact. Okay, after we do some warm-up with this, again, just working on good reach, good snap, good follow-through, then what we'll do is what we call a hitting progression. And we'll do this with all of our hitters, and particularly middle blockers we do this with all the time. But it's a progression with it where at first what they'll do is they are not looking at any steps. We're really breaking it down. So we want the reach, but at first, they'll have no steps involved with it all. All they're doing is just the power of their hip flexors and their ankles is what we're looking for. We're looking for them to drive up, because a lot of times, again, you have players that won't drive up once they make their approach. So we set it to where they have to drive up and then hit. Now, what they're trying to do with this is, again, we want them to be able to explode up, so they're by bending their legs, using their hip flexors, using their ankles, we're getting them to go straight up. And again, we'll do this with our middle blockers pretty much every day to be able to get power off of just jumping straight up. They still should be trying to hit the top part of the ball, so they're being able to get up and put the ball back down. Okay, that was with no steps. Now what we'll do is we're going to work on it to where they're actually doing a one-step approach. So all it is their closed step. So it goes from just basically a rocker step to where they're just going straight up. And now all we'll have them do is just drop their left foot back and then just straight up. So this is trying to get to turn in their in the rotation, okay? So we want them to where that last closed step is real important for getting power to drive up off the one step. So they've got the left foot back, and then they're just going to close fast and then straight up. Okay, on this one now they're going to two steps. So we've gone from rocker step to the one step, and now they're going to two steps. So all it is just their last two steps to just explode. Okay, now what we'll do is with the three-step approach, this is the full approach that they're making out of it. Again, the same focus now. They're getting the first step that they're making with that left is getting their speed to the approach, okay? So we're looking for the speed, those last two steps, and the one step is where you're going to get your power to go up. Okay, what Holly's going to do now is she's going to go back and she's going to toss some to let you see it with a toss also, what it would look like. One thing you'll notice is even when she's tossing, obviously we did it for years without having a machine at all. And tossing is obviously much more difficult because you have the variable of the ball being tossed. So when you're working on hitting, it's much easier than if you have a stationary situation like this machine, because then you can just focus on the actual approach and the hit without the variable trying to throw in the toss or the setter. You know, in developing hitters, obviously they need to be able to hit well, but they also need to be able to do other things with the ball. So we also do some power tipping that just to try to teach them to be able to go deep with it. Some people will, when they go to tip, number one, they give it away right off because they've got their arms straight up. Number two is they don't keep their fingers as strong as they need to in order to get particularly the power tips to go deep. So what we do is we use this by going up high with it and then making them be able to go deep by just pushing through it. And actually, one of our beliefs is as a staff is that the harder and the more athletic that your players are and the bigger they are, the more powerful they can hit, the more effective they'll be on being able to use power tips and things like that, because you have everybody back on their heels whenever you go up to attack the ball, and then that's a good time to be able to throw it deep or to throw it short. Okay, what Holly's doing now is she's moving around on the court different places, and basically we want the hitter to be able to see what the defense is doing. In this case, they're trying to find Holly. So as she's making a move around to the ball, they're trying to locate her, just like in a game if they were trying to find that open spot on defense, that they're trying to be able to put the ball where she is at this point. In a game, obviously you wouldn't want to put it where the defensive player actually was. We try to get them very quick with this. Obviously, the more efficient your offense is, the more pressure you put on the defense. So we try to get them to get the block and immediately get off the net and then immediately transition right back on. Going up, showing like they're hitting one, and then they're hitting back to the right side. It's important that they get off the net here too. A lot of times you'll have players that'll block, and then they won't get off the net. They'll just slide down the net, and you want to make sure they're getting back off and then getting a good angle to be able to attack the ball.
That concludes the session, and I hope you were able to find some things you can use in your own practices.